In today's video, we're going to talk about the Anvil 4-gallon stainless steel bucket fermenter. Sometimes home brewers don't need a 7.5 gallon fermenter. So go ahead and grab a beer and let's get into this. Welcome back, everybody. So we are going to talk about the Anvil 4-gallon stainless steel bucket fermenter. I did reach out to Anvil. They did send me this free of charge for a review, an unbiased, and obviously I try and tell you guys exactly like it is. I did buy the 7.5 gallon that you've seen before, and if you haven't, I will put a card up top so you can go do that. So if I have a 7.5 gallon, why would I need a 4? Well, there's a lot of different reasons, but the main one is sometimes you want to experiment with your brews and you don't want to make a 5-gallon batch. Now, obviously, usually the time is the same. You're still going to have to mash for an hour. You're still going to have to boil for an hour, but your grain bill can cost less. Maybe you don't have to use as much yeast, but you can experiment at a less of a cost. Like, I am going to use this today. So the day that I'm doing this review, I'm making a 3-gallon kettle sour. Now that kettle sour has raspberries. Raspberries are very expensive. Instead of doing a 5-gallon batch where I use 7 pounds of raspberries, I only have to use 3 pounds of raspberries. So it does save some money, but I do understand a 3-gallon batch, a 5-gallon batch, a 10-gallon batch is all going to take about the same time. Another reason why you might want a smaller fermentation unit is the head space, the dead space that you have when you do it. When you make a 5-gallon batch, usually you put it in a 6.5, 7-gallon glass carboy, and then when you rack it to a 5-gallon glass carboy. Now when you rack it, obviously they're not the same size, so why would you rack it into something smaller? Well, we want to reduce that dead head space between your beer and the top. That means less, critters can get in there, less oxygen, less everything can get in there, and it does help with keeping oxidation out of there. If I was going to make a 2-gallon batch, I would want to go with the smallest fermenter I can and not go with like a 7.5 that Anvil offers, because you've got a lot of dead space and we want to try and minimize that the best we can. Now on this unit, it's the same as the 7.5 gallon unit. You do get the ball valve. It is all one piece. You do get the screw off, so once you're done, you can open the valve, attach a tube to here. It's got the barb on it, and you can go into secondary, you can go into the keg, you can go into the bottles, depending on what you do. It does come supplied with a 2-piece airlock. You get the bung and you get the lid. Everything in here is included. I do like the clamping system on the 7.5. It's worked. I've never had any issues. I do know every once in a while these clamps will get stuck. So I'm just going to call it like a finger that's on there. It will get stuck on the other side of the tab. So you kind of have to move it around to get it out of there. But really not a big deal at all. So if we take off the lid, it is gasketed. It does have a gasket around the side of it, which does work. Inside, if we do look, we do have our racking arm. I do not have this tight on there, but you can turn it down. What I do is I put that racking arm down, and then my ball valve is, let's say, horizontal. And then before I rack, I actually turn the ball valve so that racking arm comes up. That's where I start. So when I finish straight down. Now, it's probably half a dozen of one, half a dozen of another, which way you start. But that's how I've done it. You just have to remember turn that thing sideways before you open it. Yes, I do understand that some of that trub is going to get in there because as the trub level rises, it's going to go up in there. It's not a big deal, doesn't matter to me. The bottom is sloped, so it does get almost all the way down to the bottom. You do have gallon markings on here. This does go up to the 4-gallon mark. I would say, if anything, you want to stay about 3.5. And you do have them on the outside too, so you can kind of see. But yeah, I think it's going to work out well. And like I said, you know, a lot of people aren't brewing 5-gallon batches of beer. They might be using a 6.5, 7.5 gallon fermenter, but you don't want to do that if you're only brewing a 2.5, 3-gallon batch of beer. You want to keep that head space, that dead space down as much as you can, and I think this is a good option for you to look at if you are brewing a 2.5, a 3-gallon beer. I mean, look at the kegs. If you go to look at a keg, you can get a 2.5 gallon, you can get a 5-gallon. So yeah, it just doesn't make sense to make a 2.5 gallon, 3-gallon beer and put it into a humongous fermenter. This is, I don't think I mentioned it, this is all stainless steel. The bottom is rubber. Oops, good thing there's a towel there. It is plastic on the bottom, and it does have a hole. The only thing that I've noticed is when you clean it, make sure you get the water out of this, because sometimes when I clean it and I wash the bottom, water will get into this hole and it will set up. Then when I pick it up, some of that water, obviously it's not a lot, but some of it does go all over the place. So yeah, let me know what you think about this. Love the handles on this thing. They are sturdy, it's lightweight, it's totally better than trying to carry a glass carboy around. But yeah, let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thank you to Anvil for sending me this. Make sure you catch the brew day video that I'm using this in, and I'll put a link down to that once that brew day video comes out. But yeah, thanks for joining me, and until next time, happy brewing. If you like this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button and thumbs up, and check out some of our other videos.